Hello again and welcome to the next module. Now I'm excited because as you've perhaps noticed, I have changed jackets. So now I want to make sure you know that I don't just only own one jacket, even though usually I walk around in jeans and t-shirt, but I wanted to obviously dress up for you and show off that I have a second jacket. Now having said that, let's get started. I'm excited. So far, if we summarize what we have done right now, we've done the intro. You've figured out how to select an area. You've figured out the kind of property you want to go after. Based on that, you selected your area. You made sure that the properties you go after, the areas you go after, are great properties, great areas. Then we filter. You got your list, right? And you filtered your list, and you're now ready to actually let it rip and go send those letters out in the mail. So a couple of things. At this moment, I want to quickly stop and just make sure you have the things in place for the phone to ring. Number one, what you need for the phone to ring is you need a phone. Okay? You need the ability to take phone calls. Now, everyone has a phone at home. I understand. One thing I want to make sure, though, is that you really think about whether or not you should take your phone calls on your cell phone or you should take a separate phone number that you can get. Now, when we switch over to my computer, I'll share you. We talk about those things in this module about what phone number should you have, how should it be forwarded, and those kind of things. Because there's something to be said to have a separate phone number that's being forwarded to your phone, but that you can also turn over. And if you decide to go for a call center, you can decide to re-forward that phone number without having a bunch of letters out there where people still going to call you on your cell phone. The next thing is you want to make sure that you have the ability to take the questions. We're going to talk about that right now, about that you have the sheet ready. Now, if you use our Investment Dominator, it's all in there already, right? In our Investment Dominator, there's an area where you can enter all the questions, all the answers to the question when somebody calls you back. It's all there. The other thing I wanted to make sure you have, if you choose, when we talk about the letters in a moment, there's a link on the letter that allows people to go on a website and leave their information directly on a website. Do you have such a website? If not, you got to remove that reference on there and send people only to a phone number. If you have the Investment Dominator, our Investment Dominator subscription comes with such a website and also with a selling website. So just letting you know that this is that is there for you. Also, you want to make sure that who takes the phone calls. Is it going to be you? Is it going to be somebody that you can outsource that to? Or is it going to be a call center? And so on and so forth. And those are kind of the decisions you want to make right now before you send out the actual letters. All right, so right now, this module is a decision point module. Before you send out the actual letters and send them out in the mail, you want to make sure you have those things covered. Also, you want to make sure that what is the address that you put on the letter. Is the address going to be your home address? Now, most people have a little bit of a privacy issue with putting their own home address on a letter that they send out hundreds or thousands of times. I have never used my home address. What I've very simply done is I've gotten myself a P.O. box in one of these UPS stores that exist all over the country, and I have used that as my address. The benefit of using a place like that is very simply that they have staff there. So if somebody delivers a FedEx box or something that somebody needs to sign on, they sign for you on there, put it in your box, and you go pick it up. Also, they're open 24/7. You can always go there, get your things. So you have a P.O. box, but it also looks better than a P.O. box because you can officially make, instead of your address being 8190 West Deer Valley Road, Suite 727, or numbered 727, or P.O. Box 727, you actually have a street address that's whatever it is, 8190 West Deer Valley Road. They're making something up right now. And then you can say Suite 277, whatever the number is. Instead of P.O. Box, you use the word Suite, which is the same place, but now you look more professional. You look like you're actually having an office instead of just having a little P.O. box somewhere there. So it's a setup module. You want to make sure you have a couple of these things set up now that you're ready to get your list set up. You got to have an address, and preferably not your home address. You don't want somebody to just knock on the door and thinking that they can just come and bring a check over to your door, and you open the door and you're there in your jammies. That's not really what you want. Therefore you want some place for that, and you want a phone number that you can redirect as your business grows and your business unfolds, and as the strategies that how, who, and when, and how is the phone calls are being taken change over time. All right, so let's switch over to my computer, and I'll show you a couple of things around that.
Okay, this is an important session because it really is time now for you to set up your systems. Now, you're about to send out the letter, right? We got your list and all so on. So far, you didn't really need any kind of systems in place. You just needed to take action, right? You needed to take action to select your areas, get in contact with the counties, get some lists, filter down the list, and all of that has happened for now. Now it's time to set up your system and it's set up your mailing. And for your mailing, you need a few things. We're going to talk about the letter just in the next module or so. But in the meantime, in your letters, one of your letters, the letter that I use in the majority of my time, I actually ask people to call me back. So one of the first things we need is we need a phone system, or at least a phone number, right? So we need a few things that we need to set up. We need to set up a phone telephone number. We need to set up a mailing system. We need to set up perhaps even also a website and so on. Now, in the module prior, you saw me talking about the Investment Dominator. Now, the Investment Dominator already includes the websites already, but there's a few other things that you need to do. So you need a few systems. One of them is a phone number or a call center to take your phone calls. So we'll talk about that in a second. Secondly, in this case, you need an official address for return mails, to receive accepted offers, and also just for people to know that you exist and so on. And I would not recommend you use your home address for that, just because, I mean, it has never happened to me except once where a customer went to our address, and luckily it wasn't our home address because I was working in my jammies from home and would have not looked very professional. So therefore, you want to make sure that it's an address that's not necessarily you, just for privacy reasons too. There's nothing wrong using your address, but again, is it possible that somebody comes to drop something off and comes to your house? Yeah, it is. And do you really want that? I don't know. So I don't. So therefore, I set up something else. So also, you want to ideally also set up your own buying and selling website, and I've already talked about that's the Investment Dominator. So let's talk about the phone system first. So if you take the phone calls yourself, which is a decision that you need to make right now, are you going to take those phone calls yourself with one of the letters, what I call my neutral letter? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. You will get a lot of phone calls, so 6 to 25% response calls. Now, when you do that, do you really want to use your own cell phone number? Or you want to use a different kind of phone number? And my recommendation is absolutely 100% use a different phone number, even if that one is rerouted to your cell phone. The reason is very, very simple. If you, I assume you're growing this to not, you're listening to this and building this business, not just to do one land deal and that's it, right? You want to make this a business. You want to create financial independence. You want to create financial freedom. You want to do 20 deals a month. You want to do 20 deals a year, whatever it is, at a $20,000 profit, making a few $100,000 a year, right? That's what you want to do. So as a result, when you go about this, you want to potentially at some point of time outsource the phone call taking to somebody else. And if you have your phone number, your cell phone number everywhere on all mailing pieces, guess who's going to get the phone calls forever? You, right? Therefore, or if you change it, then it's going to go somewhere else, but you're still going to get phone calls. I still get phone calls for letters I sent out in 2007, believe it or not, right? I literally get phone calls for that many, many years later right now. So therefore, ideally what you want to have a phone number that if you decide that somebody else can take the phone calls for you, that you can just reroute to them without having to get the new phone number yourself. So also there's phone numbers that you can plug into a phone system that you can program such that, I don't know, if you have a full day time if you don't have a job and you can take phone calls all day long, then you can set it up that from 8 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon the phone calls go to you, and after 5 o'clock it goes to voicemail. Or if you want to take phone calls until 8 p.m., you take them until 8 p.m. and then they go to voicemail, right? So therefore you don't get bothered at night with phone calls, because believe me when I tell you from my own experience, when we used to set this up when we used to work from home and we had all phone calls come to our house, we used to get phone calls at midnight. Now, here's the thing. When somebody calls you at midnight, they're not expecting you to pick up the phone. What they're doing is throwing the ball over the fence, over to your court, so that you are the one that need to take the next action. That's people that haven't gotten the chance, that have procrastinated, have never called, and finally, like, it's midnight, and they're like, you know what, let me just leave them a voicemail so that they can get started, and they call me back, and then at least they know they've done the first step. So you get those phone calls, and if they ring on your cell phone, and if you have your cell phone on your night table, then you guess what? You're going to get woken up in the middle of the night. So don't do that. Get a different system. Here's 4 of them right in front of you. There's always new ones coming up. This is not a comprehensive list. Again, on the resources, we might put over time more. So if you go again in the members area on the resources, you can find potentially more areas there. But Google Voice is free or costs a few cents. Skype is free. And then if you do a lot of phone calls through it, it might cost, if you set up a voicemail and things like that, it costs a few bucks, but not much. RingCentral is a cool app that you can make that into literally a phone system that rivals the biggest IBM phone system out there or Cisco phone system out there. Vumber is a great service where for a few bucks you get actually multiple phone numbers. You can even use multiple phone numbers to then later on to test your response rates and split test letters and things like that. If you end up sending 500 of letter A and 500 of letter B, you can see which one gets you more responses by putting different phone numbers on these letters that you can both reroute to the same cell phone or to the same home phone or to the same wherever you want it to go, but you can use telephone numbers for testing purposes, which is really, really cool. So that's something to do. And also make sure that if you use a phone number like that and you take the phone calls yourself, that you get a voicemail system set up behind it, that you get a voicemail system set up with it, so that you can set it up such that from 8 to 5 you get the phone calls, from 5 on after hours it goes somewhere else. Or if you have a dinner party, or if you go for dinner with friends, that your phone doesn't ring off the hook, but that you can let it go to voicemail. It's really important, because here's one of the most important things that I'm sneaking into this module here. One of the most important things, I'll remind it and remember it later on a little bit more, and I'll mention it one more time, is this system, this business allows you to design it around your life, right? Around your life. That's the key here. And what I mean by that is that if you compare our land flipping system to the house flipping system, in the housing world, there's so much competition going on. There's so many people fighting for the same houses that literally, if you're sitting with your family at dinner and your phone rings and a house lead calls you, if you would be in the house area, most likely you need to jump up from that dinner, jump in your car, go meet that seller right there that same evening to lock that deal down. Because if you wait for 2 days or even for the next day and to meet him, chances are that same evening he called another person that actually had time to meet with him, and he sold the property to your competition. In the land area, this is not the case. In the land area, we have an abundance of deals. We have only, as I mentioned, a few hundred people in the entire United States that do this. Therefore, if somebody calls you at 8 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. while you're at dinner with your family, you can just let it go to voicemail. You can check the voicemails the next day. You can call them back then. Or you can even call them back a week later. Literally, it does not matter. Now, you shouldn't wait a month, because by a month he probably called somebody else. But if you should wait, you can wait 2-3 days, call them back, and then make your offer a week later. Which means that you can literally design this business around your life. And I don't think, unless you have had a business before, I don't think you know how powerful that statement is right now. Because this statement means that you don't become the slave of your business. Instead, you have a business that serves you. You have a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams while working when it makes sense to you and when you want. This is going to be portrayed throughout the entire process. Literally, you can get the list when it's your leisure time, when you have time for it. You can go, because a lot of times you can get it online, right? You showed you already. You can get the list processed by somebody over in China or somebody in India for a few bucks at which takes a couple of days. Then, when you send out those letters with a mailing house, they'll send it out. It's all outsourced. When you get those phone calls, you can just set up a sophisticated voicemail if you want to. Just let it all go to voicemail or hire a call center. They'll take the phone calls right there and then. But if you take the phone calls yourself, you take them from 8 to 5 or when you have time, let them go to voicemail otherwise. Then you check them back every day or just spend half an hour checking voicemails, calling people back. And whether you get a hold of them today or 3 days from now is really not important for the success rate of your business. You will have the same success rate because in those extra 3 days, nobody else will have contacted them and nobody else will have competed with you for their attention. Therefore, they will still be just as eager as they were when they called you. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along, as we go to the other steps like doing the preliminary analysis. You don't have to jump on every deal that comes in and do analysis for it. We do analysis once a week. Right, we take phone calls every day to our call center that we use. Then we do a property analysis once a week. We make offers only once a week. And we list properties on our website only once a week. That allows you to chunk time, as I call it, and to use your system and you do your business such that it supports your lifestyle. If you have a full-time job, don't worry about it while your job runs. In the evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., you do those things. You call people back at that time. You do property research at that time. You do detailed research. You make your offers at that time. And you go list your properties at that time. That's the beauty of being able to build this business around you. And this fits right in there. So when you do a system and you take the phone calls yourself, make sure there's a voicemail system set up so that it doesn't take away time from you and your family, but you can activate it when you have time and you can shut it down and let them go to voicemail when you don't have time. It's a crucial, crucial part that sets this system apart from anything else that I've ever seen. And that's the envy of every house flipper that you will ever share that with. If you ever share that with a house flipper, their eyes going to pop out when you tell them how you do this. All right? Okay, so now again, you need to make the decision about who takes the phone calls. If you plan to go big, definitely you need to hire a call center. Right? You can, and the one we recommend, you can find on www.landcalls.com. If you go there, you get to this page, and again, they might have changed the thing. It's a third-party company. We do not own that call center. We just use it ourselves. We have referred a lot of people over to them. Every single person I talk to is happy with them. We've been using them for years. They're very professional, and you have multiple options of what you can do with them. You can go all the way from a simple receptionist to all the way to having a full-blown, almost like personal assistant there, and even the person that takes orders. And actually, if somebody wants to buy the property, they can call them and they take the purchase order for the property. I mean, it goes from A to Z, different options at different price points. Again, it's a little bit money that'll cost if you do that, but if you look at that as a true business, then you won't be afraid of spending it up. I think the entire thing here can be done with all the different fees and so on that I talked about, with the little things for the list service, for the data, getting the list, for having the list processed, for the phone calls. We're talking about a couple $200, $300 a month that you can do all of this together. And it's absolutely ridiculous cheap compared to how, again, the franchise that I mentioned before. All right, so also you need an official address. Now, if you live in the United States, I do recommend a P.O. box or a box with one of these places like the UPS store. Now, the UPS store has the benefit of being a place where you have where you get a P.O. box with a real address. So not with the United Postal Service, with the United States Postal Service, not with USPS, but with the UPS, right? The brown cars that drive around, trucks that drive around delivering packages. They have UPS stores all over the United States. They used to be called mailboxes, etc. Now they're for many years already called UPS stores. And you can have a little PO box there. The difference to a mailbox in the post office is that it has a real address. As a matter of fact, it's open from 7:30 or 8 a.m. until like 6, 7, 8 p.m. or so. And therefore, you can, if you have a package delivered, somebody's there to accept it. Many UPS, FedEx don't deliver to PO boxes. So if somebody delivers something that needs a signature required, they will actually accept it and sign it and put it in their PO box, right? Also, it makes you look better. It makes you look like you have a real office. So this is like a fictional address. As a matter of fact, in that address in a suburb of Phoenix, that's where I had my first PO box. I no longer have it there, but it's basically, if you go to 8190 West Deer Valley Road, suite number 271 or number 271, that sounds like it's a real office. As a matter of fact, our new office, our office that we've had for years now, and we switched not too long ago to a different office, sounds just like that. Right? We have a suite within a large office building, and that has a number. So our big 1,500 square foot suite does not sound, now even our other suite that we moved into does not sound like it's a P.O. box. But it doesn't sound any different from the P.O. box in the UPS store. So very simply, use something like that. It's a cool trick, makes you look like a real solid, legit, big company, but in reality, you're just a little box in the UPS store. So it helps with your reputation and people taking you seriously. Now, if you live outside the United States, or even if you live in the United States, but you like to travel a lot, what I would recommend is that you, instead of getting that, you get what's called a virtual mailbox. And a virtual mailbox is a place, it's actually a physical mailbox somewhere in an office building. And many of these services have multiple places in the United States. And what they do is you get your little mailbox there as your address. All your return mail, all your incoming mail goes to that mailbox. And when what somebody does in that office is every day they open your mail and they scan your mail put it through a scanner, and it gets uploaded to a website, into your account on their website. And then what happens is you log on to that account as often as you want, and you can see what mail was sent to you. So if a letter comes back as undeliverable, they'll open it and they'll scan it, and you know which letter came back as undeliverable. If an offer came back as accepted, they'll send it here to that mailbox, because that's the address you put on the letter, right? That's the address you put on your contract as the return address. They'll send it there. It gets opened, it gets scanned. You see it there, and you can, it doesn't matter where. If you sit in China, if you sit in Germany, if you sit in South Africa, if you sit in Buenos Aires, Argentina, you literally just press a button on your printer, print out that contract, co-sign it, scan it again, and send it over to the title company for processing, right? Anything that you want. It's literally like having a P.O. box with somebody that opens your mail and puts them in there somewhere where you can virtually see it all over the world. It's brilliant, a brilliant solution, particularly if you want to do this business from outside the United States, if you want to go travel the world while doing this business, or if you just want to travel the U.S., if you want to pack up the kids, get an RV, and go travel around the world, it's going to be hard to check your mail all the time. But with a service like that, you can check your mail from anywhere where you have internet access. You just simply go, log on to it, check it out, and you can do your business from anywhere in the world with such a P.O. box. It's really, really cool to do this. And ultimately, for the websites, I already gave you a little demo a little bit ago. Very simply, the Investment Dominator is the place that we already created for you that has a built-in buying website and a built-in selling website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly switch over there again and just show it to you one more time. So here we go. This is the screen, the welcome site. But if you look at it under my site here, you have 3 different pages. And in this case, when you send out your letters, this is the one that you would use. It has already pre-written text that you can edit. You can change that very, very simply. And it has already here the thing, sell your land for cash, sell your house for fast. You can eliminate the house one if you're not going after houses. And you just basically, it's all there already. There's even a video that we show you up to upload it. And that basically explains how this works. And then people put in their name. So it's I put Jack, I put Bosch, and then you go click next. And then you get to the place where you now where they can put in all the information about the property right there. It's already created for you. So if somebody, instead of calling you, rather wants to go the online route, guess what? When you have the Investment Dominator, as part of the Investment Dominator, this is all done for you. It's already there. It comes completely set up, and all you need to do is you need to actually just sign up for that. And I gave you the link in the other version, which is www.jackbosch.com/ID special, and you get a tremendous discount over what the retail price of that program is. And you get that as a thank you for being a Land Profit Generator 2.0 customer. All right, so that's pretty much it. So now the homework. Again, what do we want to do? At the very least, get a phone number, right? Get a phone number that you can forward to anywhere, and a PO box or an address which is not your home. Make the decision also about whether or not you want to use that call center or not. And pretty much that's it. And obviously sign up for the Investment Dominator at that link at jackbosch.com/ID special. That's your homework for right now. And now let's move on.